I have a task before me. I solicit your prayers. As I delve into this text, I do it from a place of great humility to discuss with you what he has discussed with me and to hopefully contemplate with you the ideas that he has shared with me, that the church might be edified by that which every joint supplieth. To the thousands and thousands of people that connect with us through cyberspace, this is a word from the Lord that I am heavy with today because it is a prophetic word for somebody regarding how things are going to play out over the next few years in your life. And I want you to hear what the Spirit of the Lord is saying to the church to the best of my ability. Beginning at verse number 15. Moreover, it's talking about Joseph here. He kissed all his brethren and wept upon them. And after that, his brethren talked with him. And the fame thereof was heard in Pharaoh's house, saying, Joseph's brothers are come. And it pleased Pharaoh well and his servants. And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, say unto thy brethren, this do ye, lade your beast, and go, get you unto the land of Canaan. And take your father and your households, and come unto me, and I will give you the good of the land of Egypt. And ye shall eat the fat of the land. Now thou art commanded, this do ye, take you wagons out of the land of Egypt for your little ones and for your wives, and bring your father and come. Also regard not your stuff. For the good of all the land of Egypt is yours. And the children of Israel did so. And Joseph gave them wagons according to the commandment of Pharaoh, and gave them provisions for the way. To all of them he gave each man changes of raiment. But to Benjamin he gave 300 pieces of silver and 5 changes of raiment. And to his father he sent after this manner 10 asses laden with the good things of Egypt, and 10 she-asses laden with corn and bread and meat for his father by the way. So he sent his brethren away, and they departed. And he said unto them, see that ye fall not out by the way. And they went up out of Egypt and came into the land of Canaan unto Jacob their father, and told him, saying, Joseph is yet alive. Good God of mercy. Joseph is yet alive, and he is the governor over all the land of Egypt. And Jacob's heart fainted, for he believed them not. And they told him all the words of Joseph, which he had said unto them. And when he saw the wagons which Joseph had sent to carry him, the spirit of Jacob, their father, revived. And Israel said, it is enough. Joseph, my son, is yet alive. I will go and see him before I die. Can you say amen? Go back to the first verse for me there, verse 15. Moreover, Joseph kissed all his brethren and wept upon them. And after that, his brethren talked with him. I want to entitle the message, Joseph's Tears. Joseph's Tears. Spirit of the living God, help me. Without you, I can do nothing. But with you, all things become possible. Take me and use me. any way you want to use me. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever and ever and ever. My soul says, amen. You may be seated in the presence of God. Yeah, let's go to work. It is odd that there is so little preaching done about this part of Joseph's life, because this is the harvest on the faithfulness that came through the suffering of his life. And yet we preach more about the suffering and the sacrifice than we do the harvest. We preach about how he was abandoned and abused, mistreated and ostracized. But we don't teach people that he came to an end of suffering. That not only did he survive, but he thrived. And that his latter day was greater than his former day. That in spite of a rough start and a raggedy middle, ultimately in the end, everything that God promised him came to pass. He took him a roundabout way to get there, but he got them there. This text, which is seldom discussed, it evokes a myriad of emotions, because having gotten there and been sustained and is now the Prince of Egypt, he is a Hebrew boy, the Prince of Egypt. God doesn't have to raise you up amongst your own people. God will take you out of your element, because sometimes when you're around your own people, they don't appreciate who you really are. God will take you out of your element and take you to a place where your gifts can be seen and utilized, and he raised him up there. This text also shows us our God working through a dysfunctional family to accomplish his own divine purpose. Jacob's family was, as the young people say, was tore up from the floor up. The story starts in the treacherous deceit of Joseph's brothers and the plot that caused his father's head to gradually age prematurely. Brokenhearted and fragmented, raising children that don't love each other is a stressful thing. It picks up here toward the end with the kind of promiscuous grace that redeems the guilty and creates a stage for the purpose Joseph was chosen to be made manifest. It exploits before us the magnitude and the majesty of the breadth of the kind of person Joseph was. It was not merely his coat, it was his character. They could take his coat, but they couldn't take his character. He had the kind of magnanimous ability, the voluminous capacity to be able to have the kind of love that was tough enough to withstand the obstacles of his times. It's going to be challenging, because it's not easy to jump up and say, yeah, I got it like that, until you've had it tested like that. The family had been badly disjointed. The reconciliation brings Joseph to tears. Joseph, who has a chariot behind Pharaoh, who commands the authority over the finances for the entire nation of Egypt. Joseph, who is revered amongst the Egyptians, burst out in tears in the face of his brethren, in spite of being unjustly treated by them, in spite of the way they ostracized him and humiliated him, in spite of the way they set out to murder him, literally murder him, and decided instead to throw him in a pit to be devoured by animals or taken captive as a slave. They didn't care which. They stood back to watch him die. Have you ever had people that stood? Y'all don't understand. I'm going to talk to this. Have you ever had anybody that stood by to watch you die, set you up, and just waited for you to fall and folded their arms? Of course you have. You can't live in this world and not attract enemies and haters and naysayers and people who despise you. That's a part of this world. Out of 8 billion people on the planet, everybody is not going to like you. We understand that. But it's not just that they hated him, it was that they were also his brethren. It is not just what they did, it is who they were. And yet Joseph, when he is on top and he has the power to be vindictive, he has the power to get even, he has the power to seek revenge, he has the power to annihilate them, he has the power to destroy their lives, he has the power to cut them completely off, he has the power to cut off their food supply and watch them die. Instead, he burst into tears. Joseph's tears are amazing. They threw him in the pit and he didn't cry. They stripped him of his clothes and he didn't cry. They ripped his coat of many colors and he didn't cry. They separated him from the love of his father and he didn't cry. They sold him into captivity to the Midianites and he didn't cry. For Joseph to cry here, he didn't cry in the house of Potiphar when Potiphar's wife lied on him and he had to leave there under a lie and was falsely arrested and he didn't cry. He went to jail and he didn't cry. He was forgotten by the butler and the baker and he didn't cry. Joseph is not a whip. He's not easy to give way to his, but what is it about this situation that has brought him to tears? This is the only time that we readily recall Joseph's tears. I would have cried when they threw me in the pit. I might have cried when they took my coat. I definitely would have cried when I lost my good job at Potiphar's house. And if they took me to jail, I would have been in tears. But he stood up to all of that and didn't shed a tear. And now when these haters out of one period in his life come back to him at another period in his life, he sees them and they are desperate and they're in trouble and a famine is coming into the land and they need him, and either the evil in him will rise up and get revenge, or his better angels will rise up in him and he will respond correctly. Have you ever had to wrestle you had two different ways you could react? You know the way you should react, but when you think about what they did and how you suffered, is there anybody in here that had trouble reacting the way you were supposed to act? He is torn in his thinking. It is human to remember. How can he forget what they did to him. He said, I know you did it, and you didn't do it by accident. You meant it for evil. Oh, I'm not a child or a novice. I understand everybody's not going to wish me well. But it's not what they did, it's who. Et tu, Brute? You betrayed me too? Do you have the strength to allow good to come out of you when evil has been done to you? Anybody can be good to people that are good to them, but the challenge of life is to be good to somebody that you don't owe them no kind of good. I don't owe you nothing. I don't owe you nothing. I don't owe you. Didn't raise me. You didn't love me. You weren't there for me. Now you're in. I don't owe you nothing. Somebody in here knows what I'm talking about. Time has passed, and now you need me. Time has passed, and now you call on me. Time has passed, and now your hearts have softened. You need me now. And the challenge becomes, given the favor that he's been given, does he have the capacity in his person to allow the phrase better angels, I'm going to talk about that in a minute, to rise up out of him and to guide him so that the best part of him is leading him and not the worst part of him? The plan of God depends on Joseph finding his better angels. Abraham Lincoln, who used the phrase better angels so beautifully in his first inaugural address on March the 4th of 1861, was a time when our country was on the eve of the Civil War. Initially, those lines were not in there. He added them. He says, I am loath to close. We are not enemies, but friends. We must not be enemies, though passions may have strained. It must not break our bonds of affection. The mystic cords of memory, stretching from every battlefield and patriot grave to every living heart and hearthstone all over the broad land, will yet swell the chorus of the Union when again touched, as surely they will be by the better angels of our nature. The better angels of our nature. Abraham Lincoln says this as he is leading the nation through the most turbulent, one of the most turbulent periods in the history of this country. He calls for the better angels and says that ultimately, when all is said and done, we will recognize that we are one people, that we are brethren, though our relationship has been strained. Indeed it had. It had been greatly strained. And his writer, one of his writers who served as Lincoln's Secretary of State, wanted to change the line and wanted to write, in fact did write, guardian angels. But guardian angels implied something from the outside. What Lincoln was counting on is that in the worst of us, there is a better of us that is on the inside, that if we will allow it, it will rise up and take us through the turbulence of the times we face. Are you hearing what I'm saying to you? Not the pietistic term of the guardian of angels, no, but the better angels would arise and protect them. Now, give me a moment. I'm gonna get you where you're trying to go. Abraham Lincoln didn't come up with that by himself. He is quoting from William Shakespeare. When William Shakespeare writes in Othello, in the 1600th century, he writes about a play called Othello. And in Othello, he writes about the better angels fighting down the evil that was done to him. Abraham Lincoln reaches back to William Shakespeare's speech in 1603 and adopts this language, better angels. Better angels. It is hard to live a life that exemplifies your better angels when you've had bad times. It's hard to have better angels when you've been around bad people. It's hard to have better angels when you've got bad memories. All of us have to fight every day to get our better angels to stand up inside of us. It's not enough for me to talk about Joseph or even talk about Abraham Lincoln or William Shakespeare, the character in Othello. Let me bring this on down to Paul. Paul said, when I would do good, evil is present with me. He said there's a war going on in my members. I could react a lot of different kinds of ways. I don't even know how to respond to the moment. That which I would do, I do not. That which I would not do, I do. Oh, wretched man that I am, who shall deliver me from the complexity of my life? There's not a person in this room who has a life that has no complexity. We smile for people and we deal with the complexity by ourselves. We show up as if